Everybody say Eugene.
Eugene! Thank you.
Double check it. I'm not a good shooter.
A cameraman is not a good shooter?
Oh yeah, almost. Well, completely cut off.
You need another one?
Can we tighten it just a little more?
Yeah, scooch, so you don't get cut off.
Someone's not touching my right hip. Someone should be.
One more Eugene.
Eugene! Thank
I
you.
took three. Hopefully we can do
Awesome.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone's in. Beautiful. Thanks. A lot of posters.
I'm here. I got the
Good.
So before you start, so that the person who's going to write this, we make sure we have your name.
Right.
So go ahead and say your first last name and then spell it for us.
Okay. My name is Amanda, A-M-A-N-D-A, Rain like the weather, R-A-I-N, and I'm one of the co-organizers of the search effort to find Eugene Vibar.
And then if you want to find maybe one person to look at, maybe Sean.
Right at this camera.
Right at the camera?
Not at the
You
camera,
can look
but
at me.
Okay.
at Sean.
Okay.
Great.
We're good.
And what, are you guys all ready?
Big breath. What did you want to tell us today?
So we're gathered here today because we're missing our friend Eugene Vibar, and he disappeared on Halloween night at 2:30 in the morning. He was emotionally upset and he told his housemates he was going to go for a walk, and that was the last time he was seen. He was last seen wearing a bright blue jacket and jeans. He has shoulder length brown hair. He's Filipino. He's about 5'9" and 170 pounds. We're very concerned about his safety and what happened to him. It's not likely that he just voluntarily walked off. You know, he works for a living. People who work for a living don't get to just on a whim recreate a whole new life. You know, you don't leave with your cell phone that's got almost a dead battery without your phone charger. You don't take your wallet if you're gonna go kill yourself, right? You don't take a phone that's about to die. There's just no explanation, and he volunteers with a lot of nonprofits and social organizations, community organizations. He's very loved. We have a Facebook group of over 600 people now who have joined, and it's steady increasing to try to find him. We really want him to be found, and we want him to be okay. It's been 12 days now, and so we have a lot of concern. And with every passing moment, the concern grows. It's getting colder out. We don't know. About a month ago, he was under a lot of stress and dehydrated and had been working really hard all day, which was common for him. And he passed out. He told a couple friends that he had a seizure, and you know, we don't know if that was medically confirmed, but we at least know that he passed out and knocked over his lamp in his room. And so we're concerned that if he was under a lot of emotional stress, it was really cold out, he didn't have water, and he just went off walking, that something happened. And so we're really concerned. He'd been talking over the weekend about wanting to get out in nature. So we wonder if he went to a park or possibly the water. We've been taking every action that we can think of, flyering the city and searching physically for him because we don't know what else to do. The police have been slow to respond because there's only 2 detectives for 22 cases right now. And so they're severely limited, and there's a lot of red tape in what they can do legally in responding to him, to his case. And so we want to make it really known that this is not normal and that this is important that we let everyone know, and any information, you know, go to findeugenevibar.info. Or is it have you seen
Eugene?
Have you seen Eugene.info? You know, part of the challenge is we've been putting up flyers, and that they're getting taken down. around the city. And so we need those flyers to stay up. We need everyone to see his face and to know that we're looking for him and that he's missing. There's also, you know, I heard from his detective this morning that his case is classified as a missing person case, which we heard otherwise, and so we were very concerned about that, because without that status, we can't get access to pertinent records to find him. And still, though, it's not marked as exigent because of the amount of time that passed since he was missing. And so it's hard for them to make the case that it's an emergency and that they need to access his phone records to get the last GPS location on his phone. There's been he has a family plan, and there's been no cell phone usage since Halloween night. And so without that exigent status, we can't go to Verizon and get the records. We can't get his bank statements to know if he's been using his card. You know, if that's what's been happening, if he like went off somewhere, great, you know, we know he's alive. But we don't know that, and there are so many reasons to think that something could have happened. You know, he didn't have a backpack. He didn't take anything with him that would have helped him. You know, he did like adventure, but he always took a backpack.
When he left it that night, is there a certain walk that he would do? Where did he leave from?
You know, I'm going to let one of his housemates talk about that. So when we switch, that would be a good question for Maddie here.
But your main concern is the police. You wish the police had more resources. They could do more, but they run into red tape. Just like people taking down your signs is that, you know, you need everything up. You need all the help you get.
Right. Yeah, we're really concerned that it can't be an exigent circumstance. You know, part of the delay in filing the police report, which happened on November 6th, is that Eugene was on vacation that week. So people thought that it might have been that he went on a trip, but he was supposed to go to the coast. He had plans to go to the coast on the 6th, and he's not been heard from since. He was trying to get his phone charger back. He sent out, that was one of the last texts that we know of. The person shared that text thread with us, and it was 11:39 that he texted her to try to get his charger back, and told her, you know, to drop it off at his house the next day. And she didn't drop it off until this past Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. And so what's really important is that the police department get that this is an emergency and that we can get access to those records quickly, because if something did go wrong, we need to know that, because we need to, you know, we need to up the search efforts and physically comb the streets until we find him. Right now we have kayaks on the Willamette River searching for him there. We had people yesterday walking up along the shoreline in case he did go to the water and passed out, or, you know, something happened. You know, the water's so cold that if you were to go into shock. And so there's just a lot of unknown, and we need to know if he's alive, and that will tell us if we can get those records.
Can you talk a little bit about some of his favorite places to go? You used to talk about nature.
Yeah, most of his favorite places to go were outside the city. And so that's where we don't think, you know, and without having his camping gear, he didn't have his camping gear. He has a bicycle. That's his main mode of transportation, and his bicycle is still at the house. So there, you know, it just makes no sense that he would have gone somewhere out of the city. Yeah, and Maddie, who lived with him, will talk more about, you know, his favorite places. Yeah, thank you. Maybe take these off. That's true.
We're trying tiny fraction.
This is just what we were able to pull up with less than 12 hours. Maybe 12 hours.
14
Maybe
hours.
14 hours. 14 hours. This is the
Yeah.
response that we gathered in 14 hours.
Are there more on this website?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and we're gonna send. I apologize for not sending it with the press release, but we're gonna send it to the news email addresses too when we're done.
Sometimes having more than one, people look differently in different
Right.
pictures. and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it helps.
And we put it on our face page.
Yeah, one of the posters has like 7 pictures of his angles of his face and different expressions at the bottom.
So you want to? I'll go stand there again, and you can say your name and stuff. Go for it.
So, hello. My name is Natalie, Natalie Finkel, Finkel. I moved into the house on 19th and Stark in September. And, I think where I really wanted to start this actually is just to say how proud Eugene is of our efforts. Because, that's the thing that when I look back on him, he said, wow, he has so many friends, but he was the most loving person ever. He cared so much, and he put so much care and attention and compassion, and he made such intimate connections with us all. And of course, now when he needs us the most, we're gonna all come together and be there for him, just as he was always there for us. And that's such a big thing about him, is that since living in the house, he was constantly there for me. And he supported me through all of the changes that I was going through, from moving to Portland recently in January to just finding myself. And I dealt with a recent breakup, and that was honestly a really hard thing that Eugene really was there for me with. And especially because Davey was someone that Eugene knew from his past. So he cared about us, obviously. And we talked a lot, and he worked so hard every day. He would get up at 6 in the morning, if not earlier, to get to his work. He did manual labor, landscaping. He wouldn't just let down his team members that rely on him to get to work. He has such a sense of commitment and being there for people and showing up. And he wouldn't the first alarming thing was okay, Halloween. It was a Halloween night. Okay, let's not overthink this. He just walked out. Okay, and then when he didn't come for the Wednesday rent day, when he didn't pay his rent, that's just, he would never do that. He would come back to pay his rent. He wouldn't just leave us all hanging. He's the person that we were all relying. He was the stable one. He was the one who really, just really hardworking and really had such a work ethic and was inspiring everyone around him. And
Did he have a routine walk when he would leave? Is this the first time? I guess.
We would walk around the neighborhood. We would just spend time in the Buckton's elementary school playground, and I spent actually most of the time when we would talk there, and we had a lot of really, really deep, wonderful conversations together, and it was beautiful because it was all about community and about finding your people and finding that support in life. And I moved to Portland to find that support and to find people and to grow as a person and heal from just feeling disconnected in life. And when he would talk about all of his friends, he mentioned everyone to me and how important they were to him, and how much he wants to spend more time with them, but how everyone is doing their own thing. And And of course we're going to come together at this time. And we're really going to do everything to be and find him because he cared so much about all of us. And we owe it to him so much. And
is it the places that he'd like to go to? Because you said he liked to go outside the city to find him, you know.
so the whole time that I known him, like, he never really took impromptu trips. Like, he was very much, I think, connected to people. Like, if he did something, it was with someone. It wasn't just by himself. He wasn't just like, oh, I'm just gonna slip off into the woods and just be, you know, by myself at this time. Like, I think he really valued community and valued human connection. And there was a lot of tension at the house. He was under a lot of stress. He was under a lot of, you know, he had that mini seizure. Like, no one knows what happened, but something happened. He was under stress from manual, like, working himself all the time. And then there were these tensions that were constantly being dealt with at the house that he, you know, that was obviously going to affect him. And then I know that the night of Halloween I was out. I wasn't even going to go out that night, but friends called me over to go down the block. And I wasn't at the house, and I didn't see him for the rest of the night. I saw him before he went out on his night in his costume, and he looks fantastic, like really shining. And like, I remember I told him that, I told him how great he looks, and like he was just so put together and just looked so happy and just ready to have a good time, you know. And you know, this was a big deal because he's such a hard worker, and he's been building up to go to this event and Halloween and have a good time. And then I ended up leaving the house, and I learned from my roommate that he ended up coming into the room really, really upset and emotional and couldn't talk, and he was saying my name, and I wasn't there, and I don't know, he didn't say anything about, we don't know what it had to do with. I wasn't having any issues with him. We were very close, and I'm sure that if something happened, like if something happened that night or whatever, I'm sure I was the person he really wanted to talk to because we had such a close bond, and I wasn't there as it happened, and I just don't know. He just walked off into the street being emotional, you know, all this culminating stuff, you know, maybe the buzz of the night wore off and something could have happened, and we're just all really, 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 really concerned because this is completely abnormal. This is completely, like, this doesn't just happen, and a person doesn't just walk off when everyone is, you know, he's so loved and he's so needed by everyone. And I just wanted to say, I wrote it down before I close. I wanted to reiterate the fact that I just think he is so proud of all of our efforts. If you knew him or not, he was about cultivating human connection and human understanding, and about being that community support and being a part of it. And I just so proud of all of our efforts and all that we're pulling together, and this is totally like we are embodying, we are representing all that he stood for and all that he stands for and all that he worked for, and we're living that and doing that, and we represent all that he works to cultivate in his own life: community, unity, strength, endurance, faith, and above all, love. So I just, you know, we have to keep searching, we have to keep looking, we have to grow in our numbers, we have to grow in our love, and we have to find him.
What was his costume? Because I'm guessing that's probably the last thing everybody's going to. So we get an idea what he looks like. What he looked like that night.
He changed out of his costume before he left. He was seen by his housemates in jeans and a bright blue jacket.
Nothing on the face. No Halloween night thing.
No.
Sure, even though I know he didn't have a car or any transportation or a bike, but what were some of those favorite places outside the city?
I'm not really even too sure, because in the time that I spent with him, it's not like he He moved from New Jersey, and I'm also from New Jersey. I moved in January, and he moved 3 years ago. Yeah. And I didn't know him in New Jersey. I actually met him out here. But
His brother Jose is on a flight here now. He's just getting to the city now.
And did we find out, do we have a press release on like how old he is and all that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's there. We'll get
It says
you
it on the.
back. Thank you so much for
thank
coming
you
out.
so much.
We hope we find him. We're praying for a miracle.
Go get the mic. This guy's from Channel 12.
Yeah, sorry, I was in
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Sean?
I couldn't get
That would have been good.
can I just get real quick? Guess we'll stay right there. What's your name? Just real quick, I'm not gonna do.
It is.
Yeah, it's just, I was the guy who.
I feel like we really need it.
Yeah.
It'd be really great if we could
So-
get the location that you put.
Okay.
Yeah.
Narrow in on that and really.
Just,
accentuate
what's
that
going
so
on?
that
What's going on?
There's
Yeah.
a little bit of a push
So
there.
our friend Eugene
Yeah, because and
Vibar,
Verizon also, like, there's all these walls
our
and I
friend
was.
Eugene Vibar has been missing since Halloween night. He left his house on Southeast Stark at 19th Street, and he was emotionally upset and said he was going to go for a walk, and that was the last time anyone had seen him. There's many reasons that we believe that something may have happened to him because he only left with his wallet and a phone that was almost dead with no charger. And so he hasn't used he has a family account and he hasn't used his phone since he's been gone, since Halloween night. And the police have been slow to respond because of budget cuts. There's 2 detectives to cover 22 cases. And because it's been so long and the legal laws that they have to deal with, that it doesn't have exigent status at this time. And without that, we can't get records quickly. And we really need to have his bank statement so we know if he's been spending money, because then we'll know that he's alive, which would be really, really great. But without that, we don't know, and we have to keep searching. And there's so much red tape that we need it to have exigent